Pennsylvania has a state bird, a state tree, a state flower. But did you know that Pennsylvania also has a state toy? Named the official state toy of Pennsylvania on November 4th, 2001, the Slinky has been walking downstairs, alone or in pairs, since 1945.
What walks downstairs alone or in pairs and makes a slinkety sound? A spring, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's Slinky. It's Slinky.
Children since the 40s have been singing along with the Slinky's jingle, which is the longest continuously running national campaign on television.
It's fun for a girl and a boy.
But how did the initial idea for the Slinky first spring to mind? Betty James, wife of the late Richard James, an engineer for the United States Navy, remembers.
In 1943, my husband, who was a mechanical engineer, went out on a trial run of a ship as a test engineer. And while he was out there, a torsion spring fell off a table, and it bounced around. And he came home and he said, you know, I think if I can get the right properties in the wire and the right tension, I can make it walk down steps. And I wasn't too sure about that, but he did it. And the neighbor children all liked it, and so we had it patented. And
now that Betty and Richard James had a hit with the kids in the neighborhood, all they needed was a place to sell it.
But we took it around to different stores and tried to sell it, and nobody was interested. But finally, Gimbel's store in Philadelphia gave us the end of a counter in 1945, and we had 400 pieces of Slinky that he had made, and they sold in 90 minutes, and that was the beginning of Slinky.
The Slinky has always been a made-in-Pennsylvania product. James Industries' first home was near Philadelphia, in Germantown, over a small garage. Soon, the James family had made enough money to buy a building in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania, and another one in Paoli. But it was Hollidaysburg that became the true home of the Slinky.
So one night I got a call from a local pharmacist, and he said, could I meet him the next morning down here at Beaver Street? And I said, yes. And I came down this big area of nice flat land, and he said, how many acres do you need? Now, I have absolutely no conception of acres. And I thought, oh, what do I say? I said 6, because I had 6 children. That sounded like a good number. So he said, well, do you think $1 would be too much? And this ground was given to us by Hollidaysburg for $1.
So for $1, then the price of one Slinky, James Industries bought 6 acres of land and settled into their new home. Over the years, absolutely nothing has changed with the original design of the Slinky. It is still manufactured on the same equipment designed by Richard James in the early 40s. Of course, since Slinky's sales have bounced up to almost 300 million toys, the James Industries employees in Hollidaysburg work 3 shifts to keep those Slinkies walking off the assembly line and onto store shelves around the world. But it has been discovered that the Slinky can do a lot more than just walk downstairs. The Slinky has been used as a therapy tool to build coordination. It's even been sent into outer space to help in a study on gravity. Richard and Betty's son, Tom James, sales manager for James Industries, has heard of many creative uses for his family's favorite toy.
Gutter guards. We have people use Slinkies in windows and on walls to keep pigeons off. In the Vietnam War, they took one end and threw it up over a tree and would hook the other end to the radio for a better antenna.
Over the years, new Slinky products started springing up in stores, including Slinky Pets and Silly Bob. There's even a gold-plated Slinky for the executive's desk, and Slinkies imprinted with company logos for promotions and giveaways. And of course, who can forget about Silly Eyes? One of James Industries' original Slinky characters was a pull toy called the Slinky Dog. 50 years after the Slinky Dog was originally introduced to the market, it sprang right back to the top as a result of the Disney movie Toy Story.
This guy has been very good to us, both times. The first time as a dog, a different design, and this time as a Toy Story dog, Slink.
The Slinky has received many incredible honors over the years. Besides being named the official state toy of Pennsylvania, the Slinky was one of the very first toys ever to be commemorated on a U.S. postage stamp. Just what is it about the Slinky that has captured the attention of children and adults for more than 5 decades? Both Betty James and her son Tom agree that there's nothing to it.
In the toy business, every year that I can remember for 37 years, the big motto at the toy show was, we're going back to basics. And it gets pretty funny after the first couple of decades when they keep saying the same thing, back to basics. Well, we're the basic. I mean, you can't get any more basic than a piece of wire. It's so simple. It's so amazingly, basically simple. It's like the wheel. There's nothing to it, and yet we're very, very fortunate to be the people that have nothing and did well with it.
It started out as the simplest of ideas, and it became a toy, an icon, even a movie star. What's next for the Slinky? The possibilities seem endless.
It always shocks us, and even today it shocks us as to how popular it is. As long as they're kids, there should be Slinkies.
You ought to get a Slinky.